Every ecosystem has animals that we celebrate, and even some that we take for granted. This episode highlights one of those species in our ecosystem for the PA Woods Vivarium. This dubio roach colony began in 2021. It was created not as something disposable. It was built to become something stable, something that could last. What the toads eat matters, but what that prey eats matters just as much. These roaches are gut-loaded with intention. Mazuri High Calcium Gutload, Mazuri Earthworm Gutload, Fluker's D3 cricket gel, backyard apples and peaches, and hibiscus flowers whenever the season permits. These roaches even get store-bought fruit like blueberries, raspberries, and cranberries. This isn't variety for novelty, it's variety for balance. American toads don't eat pellets, they eat insects that carry nutrition forward. Calcium, moisture, trace minerals, and everything else into their bodies. If the roaches are deficient, the toads pay the price. As the colony grows, something important changes. Once adults reach a certain size, they're no longer harvested. They live out their lives here, breeding, stabilizing the population, and strengthening the next generation. This is not extraction, it's succession. The roaches are not just feeders, they are infrastructure. Although wildly accessible, dubio roaches are still a pricey feeder insect, and just like crickets, people buy them in bulk and use them and don't colonize them. However, back in 2021, I had the idea that I was going to begin a colony for my American toads and other creatures so that way we had a supply on tap. This is easily the most notorious primary prey item for all amphibians and reptiles. One thing that drew me to dubio roaches, outside of them not being able to invade my home, climb, or fly, they have the perfect temperament to be colonized. Similar to how you keep pigs, cows, and chicken on a farm, I look at these roaches in a similar fashion. I want them to be gut-loaded, I want them to live their best lives with as little stress as possible, allowing them to enjoy doing what roaches do best, just trying to survive. I estimate the colony to be well over 1,000 individuals. I normally don't see all of the roaches at the surface because they're so well fed, but there are some nights, especially whenever they get an overabundance of fruits, that the roaches gather at the surface and they'll disintegrate pounds of fruit on a nightly basis. I've witnessed multiple bags of apples in 1-gallon bags destroyed, devoured, and consumed by these same dubio roaches that are feeding on the gut loads that you're watching in front of you. And in turn, that helps not only the toads, but the ants that consume the dying roaches as well. If the roach colony represents anything, it's stability. The main prey item, constantly losing colony members, is able to still replace all of them and continue chugging along. The roaches represent stability. The ants represent coordination. This is the United, the black field ant colony built on cooperation, speed, and relentless problem solving. Having dead feeder insects arrive is inevitable, regardless on how healthy they are, how well fed they are, and how well kept they are. If something's going to die and the frogs and toads aren't going to get a chance to eat it, the best thing that I can do is offer it to the ants. Here we found a banded cricket that had perished. Instead of getting rid of it, I thought, here's an opportunity for the ants to recycle it. So I dumped it in their enclosure. The cricket is too large for any one ant, so they break the task down, grip by grip, angle by angle, slowly guiding it toward the tube that leads home. However, it's not going to fit. They must remove legs, possibly even decapitate the cricket, and get it into a system or a shape where they could transport it down the tube and into the colony. I could have ripped the legs off and decapitated the cricket, making it significantly easier on the ants, but I also wanted them to have a chance to forage and do it in a way that they're used to. This is what ants do best. They turn the impossible into something manageable. The roaches and ants live by completely different rules. The roaches are tolerant, they coexist, and they share space without hierarchy. But the ants, they're precise. They divide labor, coordinate, they respond instantly to opportunity. And both of these strategies work. Both sustain life. And soon, both will play a larger role in this story. Rather than just seeing the dubia roaches flipped on their backs for the toads to eat, in some small clips and episodes about the black field ants, we hope to include them in much more meaningful content moving forward in the story. The United will not remain isolated forever. A larger enclosure is coming, and with it, a deeper role in the ecosystem. As the ants grow, so does their story. The tension between hunters and scavengers, between toads and colony. Not conflict for spectacle, but interaction with consequence. The most important thing we'll have the opportunity to document is how the American toads are going to help control the population of both the dubia roaches and the ants, giving them the opportunity to be a complete part of this ecosystem, breaking down dead insects and also having their population kept in check by the toads. This is going to mean a healthier colony, a much more interesting story, and some insane battles where the ants might be trying to steal the roaches inside the enclosure while they themselves are actually a prey item for the toads. So the toads might have the opportunity to hunt both the roaches and the ants at the same time. There's a third system beginning to take shape. Back in 2025, I made the decision to start trying to colonize the European earthworms from Josh's frogs, but I didn't just stop there. I also wanted to create a larger colony of isopods so I could have them as feeders and also cleanup crews. So I colonized the blue powder isopod and the giant orange isopod as well, two unrelated species that could not crossbreed, and allow them to live in the same enclosure as the earthworms. Now it probably doesn't seem so random that the dubia roaches were eating an earthworm diet from Mazuri as well. This was intentional, allowing the earthworms to become gut-loaded as a major prey item additionally on top of the ants and the roaches. And I can tell you from first-hand experience, Junia loves earthworms, so it's an important investment that I was willing to make. What I don't want to get lost is that the American toads and even the black field ants are generalist predators. They consume a variety of different things, so their diet requires a variety of different things. But not only does it require a wide variety, it also requires gut-loaded and nutritious prey items, the ants themselves being one of them for the toads. All of this is a circle of life and flows into the ecosystem of the PA Woods vivarium. These different organisms coming together to make the ecosystem what it is. But the details and the specifics of how these creatures are treated is truly the most important part about this entire system. If the ants weren't treated like pets and beloved, same with the roaches, the system wouldn't work, because they would be looked at as disposable and not worthy of being a part of it. But in this ecosystem, they're greatly appreciated, respected, and loved. And I can't wait to share them with you and highlight them even more as we dig deeper into the Woods Uncut for Season 2.